Today I want to share a story with you guys. I want to share a story that served as a very humbling experience for me. It made me really evaluate what it is I'm really doing as an administrator. And so we're going to set that up with a few slides and wrap this up into a story, and ultimately, hopefully people can learn from it and will evaluate and reflect in the mirror themselves of what it is they're doing in their daily work. So many moons ago, the great philosopher Snoopy was taking time to evaluate why it is that students leave college. And we've heard a lot of things of all the factors in regards to being first time in college, financial issues, family challenges, and things of that nature. But something Snoopy wanted to figure out exactly was, what is it about the environment that we present to students? And is it good enough to keep them at the institution? Are we providing a welcoming institution, or welcoming environment, excuse me? Are we providing a situation that makes them feel successful? And so with that, the question became, how can we figure that out? Because after all, we're not students. We're administrators. We're faculty. We're staff. And if we're not walking in our students' shoes, do we really understand their challenges and what they're going through? So when is the last time, as a faculty, staff, or administrator, that maybe you felt confused, lost, or even angry on your campus? Maybe it's happened more times than I'm giving it credit for, but from a student's perspective, their confusion, loss, and anger can be totally different than ours. And so that's when I realized, and this is where the story kicks in, that I felt these emotions, and it changed my perspective on what I need to make sure I was doing as an administrator to help our students. So the date was July 21st, 2010. It was a Wednesday specifically, as the document states. I was 33 years old. Actually, I just turned 33 about 2 days earlier. And it was a very exciting day for me because I was about to go back to school. So after years of being in that faculty, staff, or administrator role, I was about to be back on the student side of things. I'd been out of school over 7 years at this time, so I was very excited for that opportunity to go back to school. However, there were some challenges that were going to impact this day. And it first started with transportation issues. So as I got up that morning, I realized I was going to need to take my car to the shop. And what I was anticipating to be a short, quick fix turned into, they're going to need to keep the car. Which, if we've ever had to take our car to the shop, it seems that always happens, right? But there was even more to it than that. The next thing I had was my 2-year-old son was with me. So now we have some family challenges that we're working with as well. And so loading up his stroller and what, again, thought would be a quick trip. Let's go down to campus, get everything we need to get done, and then we'll go home. Maybe we'll go to the zoo while me and the boy are out, and we'll just have us a good day, right? But then, of course, it's July 21st, 2010, so it was approximately 137 degrees in Houston that Wednesday. And it will be this July, and the July after that, and the July after that. But despite the situations, despite these hurdles, so to speak, I got on the road, I trekked on, because again, I was excited. It's time to get back in school. It's time to become a student again and get where I wanted to get and reach my ultimate academic goal. But again, let's go back to those emotions, because ultimately I did arrive at campus. And so that first emotion I felt was I was lost. Because even though I knew how to get to the campus, I didn't really know my way around the campus. I only knew where one building was, actually, and that was the College of Education, because I had met with an advisor there at the time. So that's where I parked, by the College of Education. It's the only place I knew to go. And it turned out the College of Education was approximately 87 miles from where I needed to be to get my enrollment information completed. Now that confusion kicks in, because having my 2-year-old son in a stroller going 87 miles across campus, I'm now in the enrollment area. And that turned to go to this area. No, Mr. Wade, you need to go to this area. No, Mr. Wade, you need to go to this area. So that led to my confusion. Now, this last emotion, and my wife is in the crowd today, she definitely knows the anger can kick in at times. That said, honey, I didn't cause a scene. I didn't do anything wrong, didn't do anything crazy. But this is where the anger really kicked in. The one thing I really needed that day was a verification of enrollment form. It's the main thing I needed. The reason I needed that verification of enrollment form is because I needed my financial aid. They could not give me the form. I was told I was going to have to return the 12th class day. Now, obviously, in my mind, I probably knew that working in education. I probably knew that was going to be the case. But a part of me was also like, who's just going to dip out of grad school like that? I didn't really think about it like that. I knew I wasn't going to. But that's kind of how I felt. So I wouldn't do anything like that. So why can't they give me the form? But they wouldn't give me the form. So, after dealing with that situation and not getting the form I actually needed, let's sort of review where we're at this time. We've had car problems, transportation issues. We have a situation with family, where we have family challenges as well. Then we actually get to the campus and we're lost. We get to the campus, we're confused. And then we get to the campus, we don't actually get what it is we really want. And so at this time, after dealing with all that, I was done. I'd said to myself, you know what? This has been a horrible day so far, and it's 137 degrees, so I don't really want to be here. And I'm not coming back in 12 days to get this piece of paper. I'm not coming back August 25th for the first day of class. That's how I felt. Got my stuff, started my 87-mile hike back to my car, and I was done. I was good to go, wasn't worried about it. Now, during that 87-mile hike, it hit me. How many times have I heard our students come to campus with a transportation issue, with family challenges, couldn't get their financial aid, they had a financial issue, was dealing with being lost and confused on campus, didn't know where to go, didn't have anybody they felt could help them. And ultimately what they did was they quit. They didn't come back. And it hit me that here I am as a 33-year-old man who had 2 degrees, got a wife, kid, house, home, all these things, know the importance of education, stress the importance of education to students. Here I was ready to do the exact same thing so many of our students do. And that was the disappointing, humbling experience about that situation and about the day, was that in that brief time that I walked in my students' shoes, I acted exactly like they did, no matter how many times I've told them to be better than that. And so, the only difference between so many of our students that we lose and me personally was the fact I do what I do. So obviously, during the 87 miles, that's plenty of time to calm down, realize you're going to go back to school, you're going to finish this, you're going to go back in 12 days, you're going to get that form, you're going to enroll, you're going to do everything you need to do. But also, because of where I was at that point in my life and the support system I had around me, that's how I was able to rationalize that decision. How many of our students don't have that support system around them, don't have that experience, don't have anybody to help them rationalize that decision properly? And then it occurred to me, after this experience, after being humbled, after being totally kicked in the gut and realizing I'm very hard on myself, so in my mind, I guess maybe I'm not as good at my job as I thought I was. That was my initial reaction. But maybe that was the fact of it at the time, that day period. But I said, I'm going to have to make this a personal responsibility and a personal accountability for myself to make sure I can do everything I can to help students be as successful as possible, and anything I can personally do to make sure they know I'm there to help them. And so, this day served as that reminder for me to make sure that I'm doing those things. And from that day forward, I found opportunities, and any opportunity I could, to make sure a student knew my face. Not just my title, but they actually knew my face. They actually knew my name. They actually knew where my office was. They actually knew where to find me. And so the whole point of all this is, what I encourage all faculty, staff, and administrators, don't get in a situation where you necessarily have to walk in your students' shoes, because it can be humbling. You might learn something about yourself you didn't want to learn about yourself. Instead, maybe take this story, maybe take this experience, and make sure you can be a part of a mentoring program, or make sure you can be a part of anything that can help uplift student success, and find that time out of your day and out of your schedule to do so. Thank you very much.